Yeah, true RTA. Even at 124th octave. Just for the HF horn there. Look how many bands I'd need. Start counting all that if I have to. 22,000 there. Don't really need it, but FBQ won't go up that far. You go up to 20. Okay, there's about 20 there. So let's go back 21, 2. Yeah, I need to put this on a bigger screen. There you go. Start getting all the little things there, you can see. All these little individual colour burners like that. That's all frequency band. Needs to be adjusted. It's still a bit peaky there. Needs to be all adjusted until it's flat. Takes a lot to it. Otherwise this range of sound, but a frequency sound mix on our film mix, it's going to modulate with dialogue. It's not always, that's continuous. That's like me going doing that, and it would do that sort of range more or less. Or that would only do a range around there. If I go that, or I'd do a range around there, around 8 kilohertz, because it's narrow range. That's kind of brought across the range almost. Not entirely all the way down low, but you never know. I'll experiment with a microphone because I can feel pressure. When I do that, I feel an internal pressure, like a low frequency, infrasonic as well. Yeah, it's just don't have enough PEQ there to handle that. FBQ just wouldn't handle that. It'll get some of the frequencies, but not all of them. And if you can get some of it, some proportion of it, manual EQ, because manual EQ is where the art comes in. When you use an auto EQ and someone bragging like, oh yeah, I got my speaker, it's like that, yeah. They haven't learned how to do it by manual EQ, so they've got no experience. You've got no experience, I'm afraid. All you've used is, you know it should be flat, and your ego is, oh yeah, my speakers are now this. Yeah, and you got mismatched speakers, and oh crikey. They're supposed to all be the same. That's not on for show. They're supposed to be behind a projection screen. No one cares what your speakers are, what in your home theatre. You go to a cinema, you want good quality. I noticed the difference from blind listening, going from listening to Last Crusade 70mm regular ABC downtown screen 1, and then going Empire Leicester Square. What's all this THX about? And it was like night and day. I mean the real true night and day. I'm not just hearing it, I'm feeling it. I'm feeling the performance. Everything, all the little interests in all the little nuances that go into that. Yeah. Wow. And feeling it, and emotionally, it's a whole lot better. But yeah, there's so many frequency bands that just need adjusting manually, and it won't take long. I just don't have a daisy chain up, get that FBQ up and running, and I need to find the other FBQ that's okay, it's working, because one of them's totally got to throw it, basically. Well, I don't know, I want to throw it away. List it for spare parts, I'm sure someone can get some parts of it they could use on another FBQ, but these sell cheap now. But it's not connected to anything, it's just powered on. There we go, there's the frequency band. You go all the way down, that's going up to 20, and then going all the way at 17, 13, 12, 8, 10, and so on. Now still, mind you, it covers enough band, but using the Q bandwidth, that's for 003, so the bandwidth would be maybe about that wide. I want a bandwidth really narrow, so that's going down narrow, that's going down narrow, that's going ultra narrow. That's ultra. You don't get any narrower than that, but it's very tricky to do it. To do the and I've only got 20 channel, go along that way. So once I've used up 20, I've got a daisy chain, channel A into channel B, and I can still continue with the same, say, HF horn, and then I'll have another 20 band. But you can clearly see on there, there's just, I might get some of it. I might not get it all, but I'll get some of it. So, generate pink noise. Fade it up. Ignore that little bit there. That's phantom. That's not there. That is, but it isn't. You trying to be humorous, Mr. Spock? Never, Captain. Actually, I'll do it again. Just turn it down a bit. Well, there's two ways. I can have it up. Now go over to and turn that down a bit. Hold it. Yeah. And stop. Mute the pink noise and zoom in. Analyze this. You know, look how many frequency bands I need, crying out loud. I just don't have enough PEQ. Because I don't want to use something that's, you know, some dirac or Genesis or Audyssey. No thanks. It's okay, I'm guessing. But the B chain. Okay, my beat chain on the system's very complicated, so these are extra output sort of thing. So if a Dolby Atmos hasn't got a left center, right center discrete, I can use these to generate a left center, right center. You can't do it on a Storm. You can't use the DTS upmixer or even the Dolby DSU upmixer to add a left center, right center. It'll do it on stereo, it'll do it on Dolby Stereo 424. Well, that's not really a 424, so I generate a 424 through either 750, 200, 500. I could do it for a SDDS, and then into there, and then add on either a DSU or DTSX. The DTS NeuroX has a better, slightly less crosstalk azimuth with the doing a nice left center, right center. Did a few tests the other day. Got some good result with the listening, and I could tell that. And then switching with the DSU from here to the Dolby SDU, or was it the DSU? Or I can't remember. It was almost as similar with the kind of crosstalky issue. The DTS one's a different slightly thing. There is another one, there's a few others out there, I think Circle Surround, Smart Audio or something, Smart Circle 3X or something. It's extremely rare, very hard to find. They're a very small box. But I'm curious of what the matrixing, vectoring, steering and crosstalk is like. So, I got things on the outboard. So if I used any dirac or also EQ block, whatever, here, it's generated up there. By the time the sound gets down to here, if I want to use the left center, right center, it's going to be skewed up. It's going to be messed up. Frequency response, level, gain, it's all going to be all over the place because it's got to be the same smooth frequency level response to read it and decode it. If I EQMS it, sound's going to filter out. It's going to go all over the bloody place. It's going to be out of proportion and place with the screen channel. It's going to be a real mess. So that's why I don't use dirac. That's why I don't use auto EQ. It's got to be done afterwards down here. Down here, then goes over to the amplifiers, or went over to the THX. It goes over to the amplifiers, and then the amplifier return back to the THX and to the JBL. But there's just not enough PEQ even on these DCXs. You know, to program everything. They'd need an incredible, like super power, super EQ. I say 20,100 PEQ filters, and that would be enough, more than enough to do it. And then you can start fine-tuning and getting it so all the response would be, you know, everyone's got this amplifier, blah blah blah. Yeah, so they all got different responses. First you need to get the amplifier response adjusted, and then listen to the sound on the playback, and you think, that's an improvement, because it's not got this humpy sound in the frequency range now, and I can just about some of the top highs are a little bit okay, and then you still need to adjust because the microphone has to have its own EQ. So this new kind of device would be, it'll blow Audyssey, dirac, Genesis and all that. It'll blow all that composition out the water. But it just doesn't exist yet. Someone needs to build it. Someone needs to make it cheap, affordable, so everybody can buy it. Even if you happen to live on, even if you're deserted and you're a poor peasant living on a desert island, everyone deserves to have it. And I think something like that should be maybe less than, I don't know, £500 is quite a lot of money these days. It's a ton of money. It's more than £500 is more than a trillion, million, zillion dollars. So it's an unheard of amount of money. I think that's £500 is what exactly put man on the moon. It wasn't billions. You know how they got on the moon? A free mind. You see, if I can think it, it's just a case of someone, I know how to program, I know how to do that. Good. Do that. Show me a prototype. Okay, now we need to take this approach to someone, because we need to put this into, because someone needs to front the money, obviously, to get it going. And then once that's going, boom, then we'd all have 20,100 PEQ filters that could do it automatically, or if you want to do it at your leisure, manually. But if it has to do it all automatic, it's got to have you can have then design tolerances to say, I want this within a tolerance of plus or minus 10 dB, plus or minus 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, right down to 0. You can have it, so obviously 0 is going to be better. So you can have it designed, but once it's done up close, the microphone's got to be put at the position. They got to be equal distance. The process, maybe put say like compression drive horns. They're classics. Okay, put them on the bench. Put the microphone in front. Program, do the frequency sweep. Get it programmed in. Okay, that's done. Put the next HF horn on there, and the next, and the next, and the next. Get them all aligned, and then set them up. Give them a final pink noise listen to see if they sound or the same. Once that's done, satisfied, put them behind the screen. But now once you've got the screen material there, you get this effect. Hang on. You get that effect. And so then it's got to go through a second stage EQ to just minimally compensate. There'll be very little to adjust, but they need a second stage. So the first stage won't be altered. the second stage EQ comes in and it just minorly corrects to where the microphones are. Because every time I listen and it's back here, you know what? It's a good result. And of course I've got this third microphone. And then of course it's not just one microphone, you need a multitude of microphone. Those simple. It's like monopole speakers, or say like better than dipolar speakers. Well, yeah, dipolar's a bit more pricey. THX, it's just milking the cash cow for the Star Wars. Moo! George Lucas. Monopoles. What do you think they use in the bloody dub stage? They use blooming monopoles. They're not using dipolar. If they were that good, they would use dipolar on the bloody dub stage, but take up less bloody speaker, amplifiers, power, blah blah, cable, etc., etc. I rest my case. They would have done that, wouldn't they, to minimise the cost, huh? But no, you get these now, like cheaper than fish and chips. So once that stage is all done, yeah, that pretty much be it. But you got to also check the amplifier. So amplifier is more or less first stage, and then put in the speakers with the microphone, so you get a good clean response, and that'll be second stage. And then third stage with the microphones there, and fourth stage maybe back here. There might be a fifth stage, but there's a heck of a lot to it. The room, I know my room's not perfect. I'm not stupid. You need a room that's perfectly, absolutely zero flat. And I mean, even if you feel your hand across the wall and you can feel imperfection, if it was all covered with a material, which is simple, you coat it with a plastic or something there. So it's absolutely no imperfection. And then, of course, obviously, I know if a frequency sound were to go onto it and reflect onto it, and if there's slightly minor imperfections of slightly, well, I'm talking nanometer, tiny fraction, can you hear it? Doesn't matter. If it is picked up on the microphone and on the response, then it must be there.